go ahead and now call to order the Brunswick Housing Authority regular meeting scheduled for 9 o'clock, February 8th, at the central office. We will begin with a moment of silence. Start beginning now. And thank you. All right, I will entertain a motion to accept the agenda.
So moved.
A motion by Commissioner Cullen to accept the agenda. Do we have a second? Seconded by Commissioner Dobson. Is there any further discussion?
I'd like to amend the agenda for this morning. Two residents, Miss Williams, Dela, okay. They would like to speak just for a few minutes. And we have Theowanda Brooks. She came from work, so before we start any other delegates, could we have her go first so she could get back to work? And on the third delegation for today, the second one, Estelle Dior, we need to defer that because we have to have further discussion about that one.
So you want to add two residents to speak.
And defer
We'll
the second.
make that. In addition to that, will you also add that Mr. Woodside also wants to have make a brief statement for us?
Okay.
No? I'm just going to give you just a quick few minutes here to start up. That's fine? Okay. Additionally, are there any other amendments to the agenda?
No.
Additional amendment is that this is our annual meeting and we have to hold elections. So, if you don't mind, Madam Vice Chair, within your amendment, will you add in that we also need to hold our elections?
Yes. We can add amendments for holding our election. Add that to the agenda.
Okay, we'll
And
put
which section?
if you don't mind, we'll put the elections there, at the end, after
Approvals needed?
8, under Commissioner's items.
We can do that.
We'll do that 8.1. I'm sorry. Madam City Manager,
Yes.
did you want to give us a brief statement this morning?
No, thank you. I just want to observe. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Okay. Is that all mine? Okay, great. So the motion for Madam Vice Chair to amend the agenda is to include two residents and Mr. Woodside under 1.1.
He said he wasn't going to speak. Are you going to speak?
I wanted to here in support of an item that may be coming up. I have an airplane with this one guy.
Okay. So if we do get to that item, we'll do it. So two residents to speak. Okay. Two residents to speak. She also wants to strike Miss Washington from the agenda. I'm not in favor of that.
We can discuss it.
Well, she's coming to give us a presentation.
Well, but there's something, listen, that presentation is a day late and $1 short. So that's why if you want to discuss it in front of the board or afterwards, you can, but I'd rather do it. When it's not unless you want to do it now.
Sure, I guess you put on the agenda. Okay, so again, her motion is to have 2 residents speak. Strike Ms. Washington from the agenda and add elections. That's her motion. Do we have a second for that?
Is Ms. Washington here?
Yes.
Is she ready to present?
Yes.
Does she want to present?
But the thing about her presenting is she's been already working for us since last year. And I asked Mr. Baker for her contract on December 20th, and I never got it. And so it behooves me of why he wants to present her now, months later, than when I asked for the contract, when she's been already working for Brunswick Housing.
I stand corrected. You did receive a contract. I can, will you present all documents?
Hang on. We're only discussing items to the agenda. All we're discussing at this point. So, Ms. Washington is here. She's ready to present. Again, this is Madam Vice Chair's motion to amend the agenda. We're still looking for a second on the amendments. We can have further discussion on that and switch it around from there if we need to.
Second.
Great. I have a motion by Madam Vice Chair to amend the agenda to include 2 residents to speak. I'm making it 1.1. Strike Ms. Washington under delegations, which is our 3, and then add the fact that we have to hold elections today as 8.1. Do we have any further discussion on that? I will begin by asking Ms. Washington, are you prepared to present today?
I am, sir.
Do you want to present today?
I would like to. Myself
Okay,
and,
thank
yes.
Does anyone other than Madam Vice Chair have an issue with Ms. Washington making a presentation to the board today?
No issue. Do you need an amendment to the amendment there?
I will need an amendment to the amendment.
It's like a word game.
Parliamentary procedures and all.
I would move to amend the amended agenda to allow Ms. Washington to present briefly today.
I have a motion by Commissioner Cullins to amend the amendment to allow Ms. Washington to present today. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Dickerson. Is there any further discussion? Still 3 votes we gotta make, right? Yeah. Okay, so, all right, so here no further discussion. All in favor, this is for the amendment to the amendment. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, have the same. That motion passes 4-1. Now we must vote on the actual amendment to the agenda. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, have the same. That motion passes unanimously. And now it's actually to accept the amended agenda. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, have the same. That motion passes unanimously. Okay, so whose residents you want to speak? Let's go ahead and get them.
Morning.
Morning.
Sorry, this is my first time to this, so I came in because I don't know, I guess you would say chain of command for everything and how it works down here at the house, because I really don't have a lot of issues. I just kind of go with the flow. That's kind of person I am unless there is an issue. But I came in and I spoke to the lady at the window. about some issues that I was having in my home, and then she just gave me a card, told me to reach out to Miss Pam, and then I was told to come here. So I don't know if that's how it goes, but that's how I was directed. My inspector came a little over a month and a half ago. He knocked on my door. When he arrived, I knew he was coming because I was waiting on him. So he knocked, I opened the door. He said good morning and walked in. He never said, hi, I'm such and such, I don't even know his name. I'm from the Housing Authority to do the inspection. He just kind of, morning, and he walked in with his clipboard. He walked through, he looked around, he didn't like open anything to check like an inspector does from what I'm used to from previous inspectors. I'm actually checking to see if there are issues in the home. So he went in my daughter's room, and I know there was an issue in there, but I was gonna see if he was gonna find it or if I had to point it out. And there's several issues, but I didn't want to get into it because it felt like he was either in a bad mood or he just wanted to get in, get out, and get to the next person. So there was, my landlord had passed away. I don't know who's over the estate of the home. I just go and pay my rent to his sister every month, whom she says that she's not over it. It's one of his children. I have yet to talk to any of the children. The landlord was doing the best that he could when he was here. He was dying of cancer. So he was sending a guy, and none of you ever recommend Joe Oliver to come fix anything in your house. He came, my sink was leaking. I sent Miss Pam some photos. She may have them now on her phone. Under my sink, it's full of mold. I bleached it, I cleaned it. But the inspector would have found these things. There were them calling out that were like this when he came, but he didn't check, so he didn't find them. But there was, under my sink, there was like water sitting. And the only way I found the water was I went to cook some crabs one weekend and found that Mr. Oliver had taken, after being sent to fix my home, my crab pot and propped it up under the pipe under my sink to hold it up. So when I moved the pot, the whole pipe and everything fell. So this was Christmas Eve. So I reached out to Mr. Oliver and Mr. Benz, who at the time was, I didn't know he was going through his situation, dying, I guess you should say. And Oliver came like 3 days later, but my stepdad came over and he got it fixed for me, which is not his job because he doesn't own the home. There was a breaker box that went out that Mr. Oliver came to fix, and there was a hole in my wall. So when the inspector came and went in my daughter's closet, I said, well, did you see the hole that's in the wall? And he said, what hole? I said, so that means that you didn't look. So he said, well, now that you pointed it out to me, I'll write it down and I'll fill your house for this hole. But granted now, he hasn't been back, hasn't called, hasn't checked to see if it's been fixed. So Mr. Oliver came and he got some boards from somewhere, he just nailed them around it so it can cover up the hole. So I still have this unforgiving hole. I have my fence is tore up because the city came to put out drains, and because they couldn't get in it because there was a lock way before I got there. The lock's been on there for decades, I guess. It had rusted. They couldn't get in, so they took the tractor thing and they just plowed through the fence to knock it down in order to get through there to put down the pipes. So now there is a hole in my fence that I can't get anyone to come fix because they broke it when they were putting down drainage pipes. So I have mold under my sink, my pipes are no good, the refrigerator is in and out. I got somebody to put Freon in it. He told me previously, before the man died, he told him that the refrigerator is so old that they don't even make parts for it anymore. So at some point it's gonna go all the way out. And so my children's food is gonna spoil. So then I'll be left with that. The air conditioner went out. So now I have a pest problem. I've been paying Peachtree. I was paying them $50 a month, but it does no good when you have water leaking everywhere because the bugs are gonna hibernate to that and they're gonna still live. And I live around trees and everything. I live in Magnolia Park. So it's an ongoing problem, but these are just like things, just small things like the foundation in my house is cracking. And if you walk by, you can literally like fall into the wall and just like barely press it and it's cracking. But like I said, these are things that if the inspector was looking for or taking his time, like I said, he literally walked through, peeked in, and then he said, okay. And I said, well, did you see the hole? And there were a lot of things, but I was just trying to see if he was gonna do his job and look to see what he came to do, and that's inspect. So he didn't. And so he only failed my house because I pointed out things to him. But if he would have looked, he would have found them. So like I said, I don't know if he's having a bad day. I don't even know his name. I know what he looks like. If I saw him again, he's not in this room. But I'm just saying, like, I guess we need to get a better job of inspecting but I'm having issues in my home now. Mold is not where I want to be. I'm working on some things, but I don't know who I'm supposed to complain to now because I'm just paying rent. That's all.
I'm just curious. I'm the Director of Housing.
Okay.
Ms. Natasha's over the Section 8 program. Did you reach out to either one of us?
Okay, so that's what I said. When I came to the office to talk about my troubles and what was going on, the lady that's up there now gave me a card that had Pamela Bailey's name on it, along with some other stuff. She told me to reach out to Miss Bailey. That is what I did.
Okay.
Then Miss Bailey then asked me to be here today at 9 o'clock. That's how the chain of command went for me.
Can I get with you
Absolutely.
outside of the hallway
Sure.
and I'll get your address and everything? Because I want to know the inspection. I know who did the inspection
Okay.
because we only have 2.
Okay.
But then I'll go ahead and look back on the inspection because it doesn't take a whole lot to fail an inspection. Depending on if he went in and saw something on the outside, he may not have had to open up everything like you're saying. And if you were there speaking to him, he may not have. But he's neither here nor there. I want to get your information so that we can get you the assistance you need.
Okay, and even with, like I said, the situation with the hole in the wall, like I said, if I would have pointed out, he wouldn't have even noticed it. But then, like I said, he hasn't even followed up with me, and it's been over a month and some change to see if it's been taken care of. Maybe 18.
Okay,
No.
you have the option to transfer, to move out of that unit,
Yeah.
since your landlord not being compliant.
Well, my landlord's dead. I don't know who I'm supposed to talk to. I don't know who I'm supposed to talk to.
You only got to stay in place 1 year. And
Okay.
if you have issue with your landlord, he can
Okay.
get in touch with me or with you.
Okay.
Zayla Williams.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I live in Brooklyn Homes and I've been staying there for like 5, maybe 6 years, and I'm having a real big mold issue. My kitchen and the cabinets is full with mold. My toilet was leaking and it went out in the kitchen. Right? So the water just trapped in the kitchen. I called and got them. They came and looked at the toilet. They came to replace it, but when I mopped my floor, it still leaks in the cabinet. Well, I looked in my bathroom at the top of the bathroom, and I have mold on both sides of the wall. I have mold downstairs in my cabinet, and I have mold downstairs in my closet. I've been calling Cassie, I've been calling everybody I could call. Nobody never called me. They came to my house January 23rd. They said they looked around, but they barely looked around because the only thing he did was look in the cabinet. He never went upstairs to look in the bathroom. And they was like, oh, I'll be back tomorrow to fix the problem. Nobody never came back. I've been calling, nobody never responded back to me. I have a daughter that lives in the unit with me, and we can't be living in no black mold. I've been paying rent, and at this point, like, it's no point in me paying rent if nobody gonna come fix the problem. I'm tired of calling, I'm tired of paying rent if nobody not gonna never hear me. I'm only 22, I'm trying. This is my first apartment, and it's like, why I keep paying y'all and I keep calling y'all and nobody not listening. And now that I'm here, and I hope somebody can understand where I'm coming from. I don't want me and my child to die in no apartment or something that somebody could have took care of a long time ago. That's it. Oh, and I also have pictures up there if y'all want to see the pictures, but it's right there.
Man, what's your unit?
24.
Okay.
It's got
If you, my name is Vincent Williams. I'm with Residential Services. Myself and Miss Linda. If you would give us a call or give us an opportunity, we will check with maintenance and see why or see what's going on.
Well, my thing with maintenance, I've been seeing maintenance been coming to other people's unit, and I've been asking them like, hey, do y'all have a work order for 24? They tell me no. So what that means, somebody not putting a work order in, or they just not want to come fix 24?
It's one of the two.
Well, we can address that.
What's your name again?
Zayla
Ms. Zayla, what's your last name?
Williams.
Ms. Williams. First of all, I want to thank you for attending the meeting. We have a serious mode issue. We are looking to sign, looking to go into a contract, sort of referring to mediation. One of the reasons our strategy has been that one of the reasons that we have our base made it so high is that these units have been pre-existing, have been substandard, so we refuse to move individuals in. What we're trying to do, we have created some other units that we're trying to get talked to about, some capitalization funds and improve the entire site. But one of the issues that we have is that we have nowhere for the residents to go. So we do have vacant units now that we're looking at going into to make sure they don't have those issues to get those capital funds. We can put you on that list. I'm not sure Unit 24 is one of the units to be mediated, but we will address that. But that we have that throughout our housing stock, and I do apologize for your inconvenience. We'll look, get with Ms. Kim before you leave.
I'm tired of going to Miss Kim. I'm tired of like, it's like it's the same repetitive thing. I keep hearing the same thing. Oh, call this person, call that person.
No, that's not how it works here. Once it comes to the executive director's desk, we got to move immediately, and we have to provide these safe and sanitary housing at all times. And so our backs are really against. It's not your problem, it's our issue. So once it comes to our attention, I don't think there's. Well, let me say this: we have to address each issue as they come. And so before you leave today, give a Ms. Kim. We'll put a plan together. We may have to. We'll put a plan together. We may have to move you out, put you in the hotel to sign it, to get a unit ready for you, and that's how we cannot keep individuals in those type in that type of situation. That's a HUD regulation. We are short. So I'm making any excuses for our staff. Our staff are doing the best they can. We need more people. We can't find more maintenance men, but today we'll get with Ms. Kim and we'll have a resolution for you. Okay? Okay, so thank you so much for coming. Let us know. Thank you.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
can you, between now and our next meeting in March, can y'all assess Ms. Brooks and Ms. Williams and bring us back a follow-up on what you decided to
Yes.
do with it, or what you are going to do with
Okay.
it in our next meeting? Thank you.
Moving along, do we have is Officer Wright here today to provide us with our report?
She's not, no, sir.
Did she submit one? Okay. So we'll check that off. Moving on to section 3, delegations. Mr. Tim Murphy, is he available to give his presentation? Okay, moving on. Okay, Ms. Washington. Mrs. Stella Dior Washington with Pearl. Good morning.
Good morning, how are you? Good morning, everybody. I hope I'm loud enough for everyone to hear me. My name is Estella Dior Washington, as you said. Give a little brief synopsis as they cue it up right there. The first thing I want to give attention to is the PACE program, because that's what I am under contract here. These are some of our ladies from PACE and our graduates. PACE, if you take heed to the screen in the back, it's a 12-week program, and this is the graduation that was on January the 17th. You can go to the next slide. The move forward, going about the success that the ladies have had and that PACE have had with the program. I can only speak from an instructor and a teacher point of view. The ladies are here if you would like to hear from them of their personal experience and what they experienced and what they have gained and grown to know from the program. But for me, that they show up consistently committed and that they're dedicated to their goals, it shows me that they need this, they want this, and they appreciate it. And I came in to fill a void based off the RFP and things that was given to me. So with saying that, you can go to the next slide as I speak so that they can see the different faces. The names are there out of the one that the ladies already gave their permission, and that was the graduates for the program. So going about, if you want to know what PACE is a 12-week program where we teach confidence, living skills, self-motivation, also individual support and services to help build each individual because it's tailored to that individual. So within PACE, we come together collectively. Once the ladies come in, we give an assessment so that I can individually know what this person needs, where they feel that they're stuck at, and the things that they struggle with so that we can create a systematic structure to help them advance and evolve to the next level. Within the program, 12 weeks are things that are offered are self-motivation. Also, we offer BLS CPR training that helps them go into the CNA field if there's something that they need. So today I stand before you to introduce, because the ladies asked that they would like their children to be involved in this program. So that's what Pearls is about. But I want to give you a brief synopsis of PACE. So with that, each woman that have come into the program for our graduation, we have women that are leaving with their LLCs. They have a full established business. They also have their certification in BLS CPR training. Also, if they want, because we cannot build anything that the residents could not benefit from and that they do not want. So that's what PACE do. Come into a partnership with the residents to help build the program around them. That's why I feel the success has been the way that it has, and that's why the participation is so strong. So with being a person that has come from similar backgrounds as them, as started in public housing, I understand the severity of these things that are needed so that you can understand the mindset and the mental capacity to meet an individual where they are. So with this program, PACE was designed exactly for the ladies of Brunswick Housing. After they filled out their intake form, and I met with them to assess what they were and what they need. So the program that they are asking for, you can put that up on the screen, Brandon, is Pearls. And what Pearls is a mentoring program that will help their kids. As you see, it goes through different age groups because the ages and the conversations will not be the same. We have mentors and also certified nurses and LPNs that are on staff with PACE. Those are the ones that come in and teach the classes because I do not hold those credentials. The pictures that he showed before when the ladies were practicing on the mannequin, and also the new programs that we're willing to bring in to introduce is so the ladies could go out with jobs. So we have partnered with Genesis that is on arms with PACE to bring in for the ladies to be skilled and trained to be phlebotomists. I feel, and it's from the experience that I'm seeing, that if we break the chains in the barriers that's keeping them stuck and help elevate them to the next level while giving them a path of believing themselves and showing them that we'll partner with you and hold your hand so that you can acquire a good job, acquire a support system, and be able to accomplish home ownership. So that's what we stand with these ladies for, teaching them financial literacy, teaching them how to budget, and teaching them how to first believe in themselves. A lot of people may not understand it, and I'm gonna say this before I end. If you've never needed that help, if you've never been in that area, you won't understand it until you need it. So for the mentality of these women, they show up consistently because PACE is not a program that they have to do. It's not that they receive community service. We're working closely and digitally with other outside agencies so that we can have a component that they will be able to receive community service. But if you really dissect and go through what confidence building and mindset training is, a part of community service. So that was my report on PACE. For the dynamics, the ladies show up every week. Every week. Outside of that, we have one-on-one sessions where that's controlled virtually and also via phone. I help it maximize whatever is needed for their schedule. Because when you are a mother, you're the matriarch of a household. And I'm speaking of that from a mother of 6. So you know when these women, they have kids, and some of the barriers that may hinder or hold them there is childcare and different things of that nature. So to meet with them virtually and over the phone to discuss their goals and make sure that I'm holding them accountable Once a person meet the accountability mark, they see that I'm confident enough and I can go to this next level. So when I walked in that room on the 17th, to see them smile and shine was a part of me to know that I stood strong with the Brunswick Housing, with the administration, and with the staff here to build a successful program so that our community could be successful. So today, we ask that if the parents or if the board will hear and allow for them to adopt Pearls, so that now we can start working with the youth and bring in the programs that's needed to help them obtain the jobs and the skill set to help them become self-sufficient. Thank you.
Let me ask you some questions.
Yes, ma'am, you may.
I know you came before the board when Ms. Strickland was still here. And we had other similar programs, and we did not, I think we didn't get to approving you. But you've been working for a housing authority since last year.
Are you asking me this, or are you saying
No. Have you not been working for a housing authority already?
Well, ma'am, I'm gonna ask a direct question, but may I answer it? Because when you approach me in an open forum and over there, I answer the same way.
No.
My contract started on October 6, 2022. Now, to address your question that you just said, that there were similar programs, I defer that I don't agree, but we can agree to disagree, because when I first came to build a relationship, I met Miss Rutledge, who was over social services for the residents, and she could speak for that because she's here, because she emailed me and said there is no program similar, associate, or even parallel. So there were no programs being operated or maintained under the umbrella as such.
So when we didn't approve you in January, when Ms. Strickland was here, you did not come back and represent or come to us for funding in October.
Again, are you asking me, or you?
What I'm saying to you is, you're doing your presentation for PACE after you've already been hired with the Brunswick Housing Authority. That's backwards. You have to present first. The board has to decide if we have other programs or organizations similar to you addressing self-sufficiency and all those other things. Wait a minute. And when I asked you in December, because I seen you at the Christmas party,
Yes,
and I
ma'am.
seen you at our December meeting, and you told me that you
No, you didn't see me at a meeting. It was at Christmas party. Okay, go ahead.
On December 20th, we had a meeting here.
Yes, ma'am.
Our monthly meeting. After that meeting, you were sitting over there, and I asked Mr. Baker for your contract. And he said he was going to email it to me that day. He never emailed it to me. And I asked you what you were getting paid, and you told me what you were getting paid. And I asked you, were you getting paid yearly? And then you said, ask them. And then when Mr. Hartman and Mr. Brooks were standing at that door, you said, turn around. You said, come get her, but she's treating me like a child. I did not know you were working for Brunswick Housing Authority. And so to me, it seems like it's backwards that you're already here working. And because I asked for your contract, Mr. Baker wants to present your contract to us now for PACE. The other thing is, Genesis already came before us. And we have supposed to have a partnership with WorkSource that pays residents to take phlebotomy. And my concern with that was, it was for 2 weeks for phlebotomy. And the certificate for phlebotomy was $750, and the supplies were only $100. And that was kind of steep. And I don't see why we have to pay an organization to give these trainings to our residents if we can find an organization or a nonprofit that pays the residents to get this training.
Well, can I say something, because there was a lot? Okay, go ahead.
And the other thing about Pearls is, do you want to get paid separately for the Pearls, or is it going to go underneath PACE? Because right now, we're going to have to discuss it, because like I said, you already been hired by Brunswick Housing Authority, and you didn't come before the board for that. But that's not on you.
Okay,
That's not Ms. Washington.
yes,
That's not on you. Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Washington. Yes. Madam, Ms. Dyer, will you clarify for us, please?
Yeah, last spring when Angie Strickland put out the RFP for the resident
incorporated into the budget, all of them. And when the budget was approved as of June 29th, I believe it was, they were all included in that. The next day was Angie's last day. I don't believe she notified anyone that.
She did. I have an email
Do
from
you?
her.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Okay, because some people called later and
Yes,
said, "Hey,
ma'am.
what's going on? Are we going to get this?" But and so I started sending out some emails. I don't know if I sent one to you or not, but from people that we hadn't heard from, saying, because people started calling here asking, "Are we going to be approved or this or that?" And I was like, "Yes, yes, you are." So that, because it was part of the budget.
But they're gonna be approved, but the board didn't approve it.
The board approved the budget.
We approved the budget.
On
and that
June
We
means-
approved
29th.
the budget.
That was
Listen,
it.
this is the thing. You can approve the budget, but why do we approve the budget and we didn't approve the programs that are going through the budget? Just because the amount that we assume that we're gonna hire them is in the budget, that doesn't mean we're gonna hire them. Is that correct? If you have $1,000 in your budget to give to a nonprofit every month, if it's in the budget, but that doesn't necessarily mean we approve them to get that $1,000 because it didn't come before the board. We didn't approve that program.
The presentations to be included in the budget were presented to the board when you and everyone else made your presentation.
But just
Point of
because you made,
information. Mr. Hartman, are we as the commissioners supposed to control the day-to-day operations like that? And let's be clear, don't give no vague answer, be clear.
Well, I mean,
Are we as commissioners supposed to control, according to the rules that I read, are we supposed to control day-to-day operations like that?
so the answer is no, the board doesn't control day-to-day operations. Yes.
That's all I need to hear.
Well, can I, you mind if I
Go ahead,
finish
go
that?
ahead. Yes.
But yes, the board would approve a budget on an annual basis, so that is subject to the, I mean, I just didn't want to.
I just want to make sure.
I didn't want to say that the budget was a daily operation.
so.
Go ahead, Madam Vice Chair.
My question is, we can approve the budget, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean we approve the program. That's what I'm saying. So in that case, because we get many people that come in here and present. Everybody that comes in here to present, and we put aside the money they want, we have to negotiate the money they want. So it might be in the budget, but I don't, and like I said, I asked 1,000 times who's over the program so we can see a list of all the programs we have, so we won't have duplicate programs.
Is there any further discussion specifically dealing with Ms. Washington's presentation?
Well, I would like to elaborate if I may just on one little piece. Or if I
Giving the
can.
presentation?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any further discussion on Ms. Washington's presentation particularly?
Can I ask a question? Mr. Baker,
Has it have to do specifically with Ms. Washington's presentation?
not with her presentation, but her content.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, next up we have old business, approval of the revised, Commissioners, how do you want to handle this? Do you want to move on to, you want to take it one by one, or do you want to just group them together?
What's that?
The approval of all the minutes. How you want to handle it?
One by one, Mr. Chair.
One by one. Okay, so I will entertain a motion to approve the revised minutes of the regular meeting held December 14, 2022. State it again.
Make a motion to approve minutes for December 14th.
I have a motion by Commissioner Dickerson to approve the revised minutes of the regular meeting held December 14, 2022. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Dobson. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those have the same?
I'll abstain, Mr. Chair.
What's your vote, Madam Vice Chair? What's your vote? 4 to nothing with 1 abstention. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held on January 11th, 2023.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Cullins to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held on January 11th, 2023. Do we have a second? Seconded by Commissioner Dickerson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed have the same. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. You said aye. Okay. That motion passes unanimously. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the special call meeting held on January 24, 2023. I have a motion by Commissioner Cullins to approve the minutes of the special call meeting held on January 24, 2023. Do we have a second? Seconded by Commissioner Dickerson. Is there any further discussion?
I think on that one, it is the smallest thing in the world that they noted that I attended via Zoom, and I want credit when I'm here. So just strike the attendance on that one.
Okay, so it's just with the changes.
Right.
Okay, so just change that. Commissioner Cullins was actually present for that one. Was present instead of via Zoom on the January 24 minutes. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed have the same. That motion passes unanimously. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the special call meeting held on January 30, 2023.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Cullins to approve the minutes of the special call meeting held on January 30, 2023. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Dickerson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed have the same. The motion passes unanimously. Moving on to approval of the January 2023 financial reports. Ms. Dyer.
Yeah, before I answer any questions you guys might have, I know last month, I think it was Mr. Kitts who asked for the tenants accounts receivable aged. So I ran a report. I can include this in the monthly packet from now on, but I've got to tweak it because the report that I print out from our system, even in summary, still has everyone's name on it. So, but for public housing at the end of January, our tenant accounts receivable is just over $92,000. And roughly 9% of that is what we call current, 0 to 30 days. And then it increases slightly to the over, I think it's 90 days and over, it is 54% of that total is over 90 days overdue.
Would that be considered the late rents? And
It's
what would be, just give me a couple of items that would be thrown into that figure.
anything that a tenant owes. It could be late rents, it could be maintenance charges, anything, what's in their balance. I mean, just the time, it's the timing of it that throws in that 90 days, yes.
Question, within if a resident is on the repayment plan that we have, does that still show?
Yeah, it's still gonna show.
It's still gonna show you there in particular? Is there a way for us to segregate that so that we'll know that?
Most likely, if I run it in detail and go through and pick those pieces out, I'll probably get with Kim or someone in housing who has more knowledge of, who's doing what, to get this number down to people who are not, really overdue ones who are not on a repayment agreement.
Okay.
And then in locally owned, the total tenant accounts receivable is just over $10,000, and 45% of that is over 90 days.
That's our market stuff, right?
Right, yeah, the two properties in the
Right.
four houses on K Street.
All right, those are,
51 units total.
but that's does our local owned still fall under either the ACOP or the admin plan?
No,
That's literally just
no, they
market.
have their own lease.
They have their own lease. Okay.
Also, I wanted to mention that, oh, I'm sorry.
You can, whatever. That's fine.
excused for this.
Oh, you need to be excused. Oh, yes, no, yes, sir.
In the future, starting with next month, I will be providing some more information that has been requested in the monthly packet. As far as checks written, contracts, that type of stuff, that will be included with that. I just wanted to make that statement.
Commissioners, do you have any questions about the January 2023 fiscal report? I will entertain a motion to approve the January 2023 fiscal financial report. Financial report.
I'd like the motion that we approve the January 2023 financial report.
I have a motion by Commissioner Dickerson to approve the January 2023 financial reports, seconded by Commissioner Dobson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed have the same. That motion passes unanimously. Moving on into executive director's items. I know Mr. Baker had to step out. Is there anyone who can handle the approvals needed? Ms. Kim?
Hi there.
Hello. Good
Okay.
morning.
Yeah.
Shine the spotlight on.
All right, the annual plan, on the annual plan timeline, the only thing that we need approval of today is actually the date of the
Public hearing.
public hearing, and I apologize, the date y'all have is 3/28, it needs to be 3/29.
It has to be before our.
Yes.
It has to be before the March meeting.
It has to be.
It has to be before the April.
That's after the March.
April,
That's right.
yes,
It has to be before the April meeting.
yes.
And there's,
Commissioners, and Ms. Ogden, can you just, for the sake of the commissioners, kind of give us an overview of what this is for our annual plan and the timeline, and just kind of give us a general overview of it all? Like what's going to go into it and.
The annual plan is going to actually have our capital fund changes. It's going to actually, anything that we have changed, our ACOP, our admin, any of the changes that went into that have to be on it. And it just tells us what we want to do for the next year of the 5-year plan. It basically covers everything that what we want to do in the future. How we will amend things, anything that we might think we want to do, we will add into this plan to let it be known. Everybody, the RAP people go ahead and get their votes. We get their thoughts as to what they want added to their community, how they want us to make changes. And we sit down, we try to figure out the new budget for it, and we submit it to HUD to see whether or not they approve it or disapprove it.
And the RAB, Resident
Advisory Board.
Resident Advisory Board,
I'm catching.
not RAD. What is it? Rental Assistance Demonstration. Okay, so, but has it already went to the Resident Advisory Board?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
No.
You'll be- I guess would be
That will
September.
happen if Miss Linda can get it, or Mr. Reggie, or one of the residents people can go ahead and get it on their schedule for the 17th.
The RAB actually contributes to
Right.
help create it.
Okay, so, but the only thing that we need for approval today is the public hearing
The public hearing date.
for March 29. Commissioners, you guys got any questions about the annual plan timeline thus far for Ms. Ogden? All right, well, I will entertain a motion to approve the annual plan timeline with the public hearing for March 29.
Motion to approve the Brunswick Housing Authority Agency Plan timeline with a public hearing for March 29th.
I have a motion by Commissioner Cullis to approve the Brunswick Housing Authority annual plan timeline with a public hearing scheduled for March 29. Do we have a second? Seconded by Commissioner Dickerson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed have the same. That motion passes unanimously. Go ahead. We'll handle it.
Brian, for you, Mr. Baker.
All right, moving on. Ms. Ogden, I guess you're just stepping up to the plate now.
The other thing that needs approval is the, actually going ahead and getting some new NARA 3rd edition Commissioners Handbooks for, of course, all the new commissioners that are on board, to go ahead and present to all of y'all. Yes?
Is it just for new commissioners?
No, I said it's for all of y'all. All of y'all. It's the 3rd edition, so it's a new print book.
Is it this one?
I'd have to look at the edition. If
It's
it
the
says
3rd edition.
the 3rd edition,
Mm-hmm.
okay, then that's it.
Mm-hmm. Why is is NARO charging us $36.99 for them?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
For how many?
Would be
Each.
$5 books, right?
Is there
Commissioner,
a
books, right?
contract?
No, we did a contract when we
No,
just.
is it a bill that says we paying 36? I didn't pay for this book.
So I was gonna say, if you've got one, then we'd only need 4.
The housing authority gave you that one because they had already paid for it. And that's what this is
Okay.
asking is, do we get
4 more.
4 more?
I got mine.
All right, commissioners, I will entertain a motion to approve the NARO 3rd edition of the Commissioner's Handbook at a cost of $36.99 each for the number, I guess, four books that we required? 4 books that we required? I'll entertain that motion.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Cullins to approve the NARO 3rd edition of the Commissioner's Handbook at a cost of $36.99. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dickerson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed have the same? That motion passes unanimously.
The next item up is the updated charge list. Whenever you all updated the ACOP and the admin plan, also on the list of things to update, but after we reviewed the notes and the videos, for some reason it was not actually listed as voted on. So we need to take a vote as to whether or not we can add these to our lease and our ACOG.
And this is what we charge the residents of public housing if we have to go in and make repairs.
If it's shown that it's tenant damage, if it's normal wear and tear, we do not charge. If it's decided that it is tenant damage and it is not above their 30%, then yes, we can charge them.
What do you mean if it's not above their 30%?
They cannot be charged over their 30% of their income.
When it says on here, cost plus labor, can you explain what that is?
Well, it's actually the cost of labor, which is $30 per hour is what housing charges. The cost of items has been going up and down and more up. And so putting an actual cost on paper was not realistic. Refrigerators by themselves have went from, we were buying them like $350 before COVID. They are over $700 and some odd dollars, $789 I think is the last ones we purchased. So yes, the cost of items is absolutely ridiculous, but there's nothing that the housing authority can do about that. We have to do what we can do to, unfortunately, if it's tenant damage, we have to recoup the charges somewhere.
Within the realms of the 30% of their income, if they are already at the 30% and it is tenant damage, how do we handle that?
Well, in the past, it has actually been charged, but that is one of the things that is under the HUD review that we cannot charge. So at this point, the question is what can we do? According to HUD, we cannot charge the tenants. So housing actually has to write that off. It's the same way with the trash fees, the collection of the trash. We were charging whatever the city charged us. Now they're saying that HUD says we cannot charge that. Okay, we cannot charge that, but we still have to pay it. So where does that money come from?
In that HUD report, doesn't it say that HUD gives y'all money for that? Back in 2017, when they came down and did an audit, I asked somebody last month or the month before where that 2017 report was that says not to charge them for that trash fee, and I haven't got that report yet.
The 2017, my understanding.
Hang on. Let's have, I understand where we're going with this, but let's keep this conversation specifically to this, to the policy.
Yeah, that's not it. Okay.
Given the HUD report, would it be, do we need to come up with a plan to comply with the HUD report before we make an approval on this?
Yes, we need to make have a plan, but we also have to figure out what do we do in the meantime to continue with the tenant caused damages.
That's a rock and a hard place right there.
Yep.
Until the 24th, correct? That's when the HUD plan is.
We have to have it before then.
So with the charge list, we have we have programs in place such as a group payment plan. We have the programs in place to say that if they're already at the 30%, we cannot charge them. Even if they just hypothetically, resident throws the refrigerator out on the breaks the refrigerator, whatever. But we still need to hold our responsibility to ensure that we're looking at the fiscal health of the housing. That's what this charge list is.
Yes.
Are you just looking for a approval for the update to the charge list or approval of the charge list?
And approval to the update.
Approval to the update of the charge
Right.
list. Okay. Okay, commissioners, I will entertain a motion to approve the update to the charge list.
I will make the motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Dobson to approve the update to the charge list. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Collins. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed have the same. That motion passes unanimously.
The next item up for bid is the salary increases. And I am actually going to ask that that goes into executive session if possible.
We had that on our agenda last month, and we said that we were going to defer it for 6 months because of the staff being rotated from position to position, and they were not evaluated yet. And so it was agreed on that we wait 6 months for them to be evaluated because we don't know if they're performing in their job position right now. And that was agreed on the last month, and I don't understand why it's back on this agenda today.
We agreed to defer it because Ms. Howes was not here to answer this specific question. Pertaining to it, we did not agree to defer it for 6 months.
I would suggest that we defer salary wages. They got one July 1st, they got a Christmas bonus, and now they're getting another substantial raise. We don't have an evaluation for them, and they haven't been in their job for 6 months.
Point of order. Chair, I don't believe that we should discuss that salaries during the regular call. Let's just go into executive session.
Staff has asked that we move this item to the executive session for further discussion. One moment, Ms. Alba. I don't think we need a motion for that. Does everybody agree we're going to just move this item to executive session for now?
Yes.
We all agree?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Ogden?
There's one thing. There's one thing I'd like to add, and that is that when you're talking about these salary increases, some of them have already been in place.
Okay, thank you. We can reserve that for executive session. Thank you. favor say aye. Aye. Opposed have the same. The motion passes unanimously. Discussion items, reports of committees. I am going to, this was my mistake here, but if the board will just give me a second here. The resident council from Brooklyn Homes, President Denise Hayes is here, and she did ask to be on the agenda. I thought it was on the agenda. Me and Ms. Curry will have words about that later. But if you will, I'll take the report of committees and just give her just a few brief moments to speak as our first and currently only resident council. Ms. Hayes, is that okay with you guys as a board?
Sure.
Ms. Hayes, thank you. What you got for us today?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for allowing us to have a voice. The Residents Council would like to be involved with the RAB. We would like to be able to ask questions, voice our concerns, and provide comments with that going forward. We would like to request a meeting with Mr. Baker, Chairman Gibbs, and the Finance Director to go over budget for the Residents Council. We would also like to move forward with getting training for our residents for contracts, subcontracting, budgeting, job training, technical assistance, business development, management, and employment opportunities within the PHA to access and also have access to legal advice when needed.
That was a long list. I can't write that fast. Would you email it to us?
I sure will. I can email the board members if you like. Our resident services department. I have pictures if you want to look at it. We don't feel like it's up to par. The floors are nasty. The lighting needs to be brighter. And we like to have coverings over the lighting. We would also like to have access to printing, stable chairs, computers for the residents' use in this building so that workers and residents alike will want to use the building. The central office looks nice, and so all buildings associated with the BHA should have the same upkeep and look as well. Maintenance, we're short-staffed. That's only gonna work for so long. It cannot be an end-all, be-all. Something has to be done. We feel like the BHA funds all kind of programs on a monthly basis. We need to figure out what can be done and what we are going to do for the Residents Council. We want to know past and present what the teaching funds are being allocated for, and going forward, how can the residents have more of an input on that. Going back to the mold, every unit pretty much in Brooklyn Homes is dealing with water, leaking water or mold. And here's a few pictures just to show you what they're going through and why everybody's irate about it. There is a chain of command, so we ask that when someone comes to the office to report issues, not only do we refer them to Ms. Kim, give them our contact as well, especially if they live within our community. With respect to the BHA board members and staff alike, we ask kindly for these demands to be met with the utmost urgency, because we will not be pushed aside, back down, or intimidated by anyone. So let's work together to get these issues addressed. Thank you.
Ms. Hayes,
Yes, ma'am.
and that's one of the reasons why it was so important for us together. We've been working hard to get a resident council. I've been on this board going on 3 years, and we've been fighting to get a council. We have finally did. So I would like for you to continue to come every month and express your needs or anything you see out there that might be changes. And I have something to say Brooks, because last month I had a question for you. I can't remember it now. And he said that I wasn't allowed to talk to you all, to come. Wait a minute. When I started to ask, you said to ask you or whatever, or go through you. But this is what the Commissioner's Handbook says. The Commissioner Handbook says, commissioners can foster the success of resident initiative programs by adopting policies that maximize resident participation in authority operations, economic development, and services that remove barriers to self-sufficiency, home ownership, and drug-free housing. Also, it says residents, commissioners, and the larger community must have an open two-way communications to ensure the availability of decent and safe public and assistance housing. Commissioners must take responsibility for keeping these lines of communications open so the community concerns are reflected in the agency's plans and policies. Commissioners can foster resident success by adopting programs and policies that maximize resident participation in authority, and I read that already. So, thank you. And so we want to, yes.
Your question last month was about our trash pickup. We have it every other Friday. It starts at 10 a.m. We just had one last Friday, so the next one will be in 2 weeks.
Okay. Have y'all decided to talk to the residents of getting together and doing some kind of thing for them to come together and pick up the trash in each community or compete against the other communities in order to get the trash, a hold on the trash that's being out there?
Right now, we're working on participation. I have myself went to each and every workshop that Miss Linda held last week, and I plan on going to the other one that she's probably going to have tomorrow, the next day. And we have been just giving awareness to the residents, letting them know that, hey, we're starting and we want to help you build a residence council for each community. Once that's done, then we can start the competition. But I think a lot of people are waiting to see what's going to happen with this residence council of Brooklyn. What are you guys going to do and offer, and how are you guys going to allow us the opportunity to do what we need to do as far as getting a budget? Everything that I listed takes into consideration of where we're going to see the next resident councils, how they're going to fall in line. And we've also been asking for a meeting space in our community, which we haven't gotten. So we're asking for chairs, tents, and tables so that we can set up and gain more participation. I was told that, you know, we can't do it right now, maybe later down the line, but whenever it does happen, we don't feel like it should come out of the resident council's budget because it's up to the Brunswick Housing Authority to provide a space for us. Since we don't have it, they should cover the expenses for the tables and chairs.
So has the participation from residents since you had a council become bigger?
It has.
And now another way to get in to be heard is Ms. Rutledge holds a resident meeting twice a month, and so y'all can go there, express your opinions. But what I want that to come out of that resident meeting, any resident who has a concern or issue with maintenance or anything else, I want those to be written down, and I want them brought to the board as a subcommittee and do a follow-up to see if anybody took care of those needs. So we won't have a backlog. Keep it low. Okay.
Yes, directing a resident, I'll say what I said before. Directing a resident council to do action is contrary to HUD policy.
That's correct.
That's what I said. I never said anybody should come to me. I said we can't attend their meetings without their permission. We can't direct them what to do without their permission. They have to ask us. We can't ask them. And by the we, I mean commissioners, staff, contractors, janitors, doesn't matter. We cannot, and it's very explicit in the regulations. That's what I said. So any direction to them to do, you can make suggestions, you should help, we can support anybody. If they invite me, I try to make it to things that I've been invited to, but I can only come with an invitation. I had one on my list. So things happen, but it can only happen at their direction, and it's very explicit.
Thank you, Madam President Hayes. What if you like for you to always have a position on our agenda, so I'm gonna recommend that we keep under reports of committees, that you just have that the resident council has a spoken slot there. Okay? Any other reports of committees? Moving on, under commissioners' items, we are now about to hold our elections. This is our annual meeting for February. This is an annual meeting, and according to our bylaws, we have to hold elections for the chair and vice chair. Is everyone clear on what and how this is just for commissioners? Commissioners only, no one else. Be clear there, commissioners only. So up for, and every year we have to go through our February and elect the chair and vice chair. Everyone understands how that works. Nominations are on the floor. Commissioners, how would you like it to handle? You want to go chair or vice chair, whichever way you want it. It's up to you. Tell me which one you want to go first. Someone, anyone.
Chair.
Okay, so now we are holding elections for the chair. So I will now take nominations. I will accept nominations for the chair position. Yeah.
I would like to nominate William Pitts for the man as the chair.
Do we have any further nominations? No further nominations. Dawson, did you, was that a nomination?
Yes.
We already got the nomination. Or you want to nominate someone other than me?
No.
Okay. Make sure I'm getting this right. Then does it have to go the same thing with the second and
Motion to close the nominations. We entertain nominations, and so I think the next thing would be a motion to close the nominations and proceed to approve.
Okay, we have a nomination by Commissioner Dickerson for the current chair, William Pitts, to serve as the chair again. I will entertain them, and being that there are no further nominations, I will entertain a motion to close the nominations.
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, this is just a vote to close the nominations. All those any further discussion? There are none. All those in favor to close the nominations, say aye. Aye. Those have the same. There are none. That motion passed unanimously. And now we vote on approving me as the chair of the Board of Commissioners. That's just a vote, that's not a motion. It's just a vote, right? Okay, so all those in favor of approving me as chair of the Board of Commissioners, or I should say my name, right? William Pitts, say aye. Aye. Opposed have the same. That motion passes unanimously. Now we will open up nominations for the vice chair. Do we have any nominations for vice chair?
To nominate Madam Vice Chair Bailey to remain as Vice Chair.
Any further nominations?
Second.
Don't need the second. The nomination, that Madam Vice Chair remain as Vice Chair. Any further nominations? I will entertain a motion to close the nominations.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Collins to close the nominations for the vice chair position. Do we have a second? Seconded by Commissioner Dickerson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those have the same. The motion passes unanimously. Now we vote to approve Madam Vice Chair, Commissioner Bailey to remain as Vice Chair. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed have the same. That motion passes unanimously. All right, we've now hosted our elections. Chair and Vice Chair remain.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations to one and all. We do have to have, we are going into executive session for a variety of reasons. And I think we're going to be there for quite some time. My question to the board is, do you guys want to take a quick recess? I will entertain a motion for a 15-minute recess. Someone to say it.
I'm moving for a 10-minute recess.
Do we have a second? Motion by Commissioner Cullins for a 10-minute recess, second by Commissioner Dickerson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed have the same. That motion passes unanimously. We'll see you back in 10 minutes. All right, we are now back from recess. We have reason for executive session. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn our regular meeting. And we have
We just
move. I'm sorry, not adjourn, but move to executive session.
motion to move to executive session.
I have a motion by Commissioner Cullins to move to executive session. Do we have a second? Seconded by Commissioner Dickerson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed have the same. The motion passes unanimously. We now stand in executive session. All right, we are now out of executive session and return to regular session. A couple of things, as far as our legal had spoken with us, I'll entertain a motion to approve to retain Ms. Kirk for investigations.
Motion that we approve straight for investigation.
I have a motion by Commissioner Dickerson to approve to retain Ms. Kirk for investigations, seconded by Commissioner Dobson. Is there any further discussion? And again, that discussion needs to be very limited. Suzanne.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
To procure
Well, I'll have a discussion with you here just shortly after. That's all the discussion that's required. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed have the same. That motion passes unanimously. I guess that's more of a request. The board does not have to make a motion for you to put out the RFP for legal services, right?
no, that doesn't, no.
Okay.
No, that will have to, that will have
All right. So just make sure that's on the list that the RFP for legal services go out. Next one is the salary increases. I will entertain a motion.
I'd like a motion that we increase increase the salary for our staff.
Well, it's approve the
Well,
salary.
approve the salary. I'm sorry, approve the salary.
I have a motion by Commissioner Dickerson to approve the salary increases as proposed by staff. Do we have a second?
A second.
Seconded by Commissioner Dobson. Again, with limited discussion, but any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed have the same.
Aye.
That motion passes 3-1. So is the end of our agenda. Commissioners, do you have anything else that you would like to discuss at this time? What's that?
Call this again. Brunswick Court Armstrong.
We still have that, or
Coastal Phoenix.
is it Coastal Phoenix? Oh, okay, so we still gotta have Coastal Phoenix. Okay. But before we go there, is there anything that has to do with public housing? No? All right. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn the Brunswick Public Housing meeting.
Motion that we adjourn the public housing.
I'll be second that motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Dickerson to adjourn the Brunswick Public Housing meeting, seconded by Commissioner Dobson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed have the same. That motion passes unanimously.